Can you believe that the world's oldest cheese was found in a tomb over 3,000 years old? In 2014, archaeologists in China made an incredible discovery. The world's oldest cheese, buried in the tomb of a nobleman from the Bronze Age. Dating back to the 16th century BCE, this ancient cheese was made from a mixture of cow, goat, and sheep's milk. Thanks to the unique burial conditions, the cheese was well preserved, with a crumbly texture and a salty flavor. Interestingly, the bacteria used to make this cheese had consumed the lactose during fermentation, making it lactose-free. Did you know that beneath Amsterdam is a complex sewer system? In addition to the famous canals that cross Amsterdam, there is also an extensive network of underground canals built as early as the 16th century. This intricate sewer system not only keeps the city's canals clean, but also prevents flooding. Staying true to tradition, Amsterdam conducts annual inspections to keep these old canals in working condition and to keep the city afloat. Welcome to a town with a population of 1. Imagine an entire town with only 1 resident. Monowai, a small town in Nebraska, USA, has a population of just 1 person, Elsie Eiler. She wears many hats: mayor, librarian, and bar owner. This tiny town with a population of 1 is a unique place in the US. Elsie runs everything on her own, collects taxes from herself, and serves the few tourists who pass by. Monowai is a living example of a one-woman show, drawing attention because of its uniqueness and Elsie's story. Did you know the African elephant is the largest land animal on Earth? African elephants are true giants. These majestic creatures can weigh up to 14,000 pounds, about 6,350 kilograms. That's like a small car on 4 legs. These gentle giants are a symbol of nature's greatness, and their size is awe-inspiring. Why do fawns have no scent? When fawns are born, they have no scent. This adaptation helps them remain unnoticed by nearby predators like wolves and bears. This allows young deer to lie hidden in the grass, undetected due to their invisible presence. The mother deer returns only to feed them and then leaves again, avoiding drawing attention to her offspring. This survival strategy makes fawns true masters of camouflage in the wild. How did ancient Egyptians predict the flooding of the Nile? The ancient Egyptians believed that the flooding of the Nile depended on the position of the star Sirius in the sky. They watched for its rising and knew that when Sirius appeared, the time of the flood was approaching, bringing fertility and wealth to their land. Sirius was so important to the ancient Egyptians that it was even associated with the goddess Isis. This star helped predict harvests and prevent famine, holding significance for thousands of years. Who would have thought that you can see sounds through light? Sounds can not only be heard, but also seen. Using special equipment like oscilloscopes, scientists can visualize sound waves, turning them into light pulses. These pulses take on different shapes depending on the frequency and intensity of the sound. The sight is incredible. High frequencies appear as fast, thin lines, while low ones as slow, broad patterns. Technology allows us to see music and sounds, adding a new dimension to how we perceive them. Why is there a village in Norway where it's Christmas every day? In the Norwegian village of Drøbak, a festive Christmas spirit lasts all year long. There's a Santa Claus museum, a postal service for sending holiday letters, and shops full of Christmas decorations. Even in summer you can feel like it's winter, and the locals happily maintain this festive atmosphere. Tourists come here to experience a holiday wonderland, leaving with smiles and holiday cheer. Why does Turkey build palaces for stray cats? In the streets of Istanbul, you can find miniature houses that look like palaces, built especially for stray cats. The locals consider cats sacred animals and care for them with great love. Some of these houses even feature carvings and balconies, with food and water bowls nearby. These cat palaces have become symbols of Turkey's respect for animals, and tourists often admire these little masterpieces around the city. How far can a lion's roar be heard? The secret of the King of Beasts. The lion rightly bears the title of King of Beasts, and its roar is one of the most powerful sounds in the animal kingdom. A lion's roar can be heard up to 5 miles, 8 kilometers away, and it's almost as loud as thunder. This roar not only shows the lion's strength, but also helps it hold its territory, scare off rivals, and communicate with other pride members. If you heard such a roar in the wild, you'd definitely know who's the boss. Can you imagine that there's a village in Poland with upside-down houses? In the village of Szymbark, Poland, there's a unique house that stands upside down. It's not just an artistic installation, but a real tourist attraction that you can enter. The house was built as a symbol of the upheavals and changes that Poland experienced in the 20th century. Inside, everything is also upside down: the furniture, the stairs, and even the windows. Visitors who enter often feel slightly disoriented because the inverted space creates a dizzying effect. This place has become a tourist sensation and a must-see for anyone visiting the area. Did you know the term Internet was first used in 1974? We all know the Internet is an essential part of modern life, but did you know the first mention of the word was in 1974? At that time, Internet was used to describe a global network of interconnected computer systems. Back then, it was a novelty, but by the end of the 20th century, the Internet became a revolutionary technology that changed the world. Today, billions of people are connected online, and the Internet has become not just a communication tool, but also a key platform for business, science, and education. It's hard to believe, but sea stars can evert their stomachs. Sea stars have a bizarre and fascinating way of eating. They can push their stomachs outside their bodies to digest their prey. When a sea star encounters something too big to fit in its mouth, like a clam or mussel, it wraps its stomach around the prey, releasing digestive enzymes to break down the food. Once the meal is digested, the sea star pulls its stomach back inside, along with the nutrients. This unique method makes them some of the most unconventional predators in the ocean. Talk about dining al fresco. It turns out the world's smallest reptile is the size of a fingertip. The world's smallest reptile is the leaf chameleon, native to Madagascar. This tiny creature measures only 29 millimeters from nose to tail, smaller than a fingertip. Despite its minuscule size, male leaf chameleons boast bright green and orange patterns, while the females have elegant shades of brown and beige. Discovered in 2012, this remarkable species continues to amaze scientists with its tiny yet colorful existence. How would you react if you found out that snails can sleep for up to 3 years? Some species of snails can enter a deep sleep called estivation to survive harsh conditions like extreme drought or lack of food. During this time, they slow down almost all their bodily functions and seal themselves inside their shells with a protective layer. This state of dormancy can last for up to 3 years, allowing them to wait out unfavorable conditions until the environment becomes more hospitable. It's like going to sleep and waking up years later, only to find that the world around you has changed completely. Can you believe Scotland's national animal is a unicorn? Yes, it's true. Scotland has chosen the unicorn, a mythical creature, as its national animal. This magical beast, symbolizing purity and strength, has held a special place in Scottish culture and symbolism for centuries. The unicorn became a national symbol in the Middle Ages and still adorns coats of arms and flags today. As a national emblem, the unicorn represents Scotland's proud, independent, and slightly mystical spirit. Did you know that grizzly bears can run faster than horses? Contrary to the belief that bears are clumsy giants, they can reach speeds of over 50 kilometers per hour. That's faster than many horses. Grizzlies have not only powerful muscles, but also incredible agility, making them fearsome predators. Their speed allows them to hunt successfully and protect their territory. So, if you encounter a bear in the wild, don't think you can outrun it. Better to keep a safe distance and admire its power from afar. Did you know that earthquakes also happen on the moon? Yes, indeed. The moon experiences its own kind of tremors, known as moonquakes. These shakes can be caused by Earth's gravitational pull, meteor impacts, or tidal forces, and they can last for up to an hour. Surprisingly, moonquakes can reach magnitudes of up to 5.5 on the Richter scale. Just imagine, the moon, our constant celestial companion, reacts to Earth's gravitational pull, as if dancing in space alongside our planet. This shows that the moon is more alive and dynamic than we might think. How do diamonds form from marine animals? In the depths of the ocean, under immense pressure and temperature, carbon from the remains of ancient marine organisms can turn into diamonds. This process takes millions of years, resulting in some of the rarest diamonds, prized for their unique origins. Scientists believe that some diamonds mined in Africa may have formed from these ancient sea creatures, giving the stones not only beauty, but also a history spanning millions of years. Did you know that there's a stone forest on Earth? In China's Yunnan province, you'll find one of the most unique natural phenomena, the shilin, or stone forest. This astonishing forest isn't made of trees, but of towering limestone pillars that rise towards the sky like jagged spikes of rock. The age of this extraordinary forest is over 270 million years. Erosion from rain and wind has sculpted the rocks into such bizarre shapes. For centuries, people have attributed mystical powers to this place, and local legends claim that spirits of nature inhabit Shilin. It's so majestic and mysterious, it almost looks like a set from a fantasy movie. Can you imagine a snowflake the size of a plate? In 1887, the largest snowflake ever recorded fell in Montana. It was 15 inches wide and 8 inches thick. That's the size of a dinner plate. Imagine being under such a snowstorm. This amazing event went down in meteorological history as the most unusual snow phenomenon. So next time you complain about the snow, think, it could have been much bigger and more impressive. What if I told you the largest family in the world has more than 180 members? In India, the world's largest family, led by Ziona Chana, consists of 39 wives, 94 children, 14 daughters-in-law, and 33 grandchildren. They all live together in a 4-story house with 100 rooms and a shared kitchen. This family belongs to a Christian sect that allows polygamy, and despite their large size, they live harmoniously under one roof. This incredible family is truly a dynasty that amazes and inspires people around the world. Why do chickens peck at their food? When a chicken finds food and pecks it on the ground, it's not just a random habit. This process is called beak pounding and helps chickens break down food into smaller, easier-to-manage pieces. A chicken's powerful beak acts like a tool to crack seeds and other tough bits of food. This behavior is common among many birds, but chickens do it with particular zeal, allowing them to get more nutrients and energy from their meals. Next time you see a chicken pecking, remember, it's using its own little kitchen tools. Can you imagine that eagles symbolize philosophical power? In philosophy, the eagle often represents concepts such as strength, decisiveness, and honor. This majestic bird symbolizes control and authority. The eagle's powerful gaze is seen as a reflection of leadership qualities, inspiring people to consider them as rulers in the realm of ideas. Philosophers have long used the image of the eagle to illustrate the power of thought and action. What's a puggle? A baby echidna. Small, round, and unbelievably cute, Puggles are baby echidnas. These unique animals are one of the few egg-laying mammals, and their tiny babies hatch from eggs the size of jelly beans. After hatching, a puggle hides in its mother's pouch and feeds on her milk until it's strong enough to leave its cozy shelter. Unlike most other mammals, echidnas retain features that remind us of their ancient ancestors that lived millions of years ago. Each puggle is a little wonder of evolution. Horsepower. More than just a name. Did you know that a horse can produce a lot more than just 1 horsepower? The term was coined by Scottish engineer James Watt to compare the power of steam engines to the strength of a horse. It turns out that a single horse can actually generate a maximum output of up to 18,000 watts, which is roughly equivalent to 24 horsepower. This number depends on factors like the horse's size, breed, and physical condition. While we often use this unit to measure cars and machinery, its origins tie us back to the era of steam engines and the Industrial Revolution. Is it really possible that in Norway there is a tunnel where goats are herded every day? In Norway, there is the unique Lærdal Tunnel, which is considered the longest road tunnel in the world, stretching more than 24 kilometers. But what's surprising is that every spring this tunnel is not only used by cars, but also to herd goats. During migration, the animals cross the tunnel in search of pastures, and it has become a local tradition. Not only is it safer for the goats than mountain roads, but it also attracts tourists. Did you know Sirius is the brightest star in the night sky? When you look up at the night sky, you probably notice a bright star shining more brilliantly than all the others. That's Sirius, also known as the Dog Star. Located in the constellation Canis Major, Sirius has a magnitude of -1.46, making it the brightest star visible from Earth. Although it seems close, Sirius is about 8.6 light-years away, adding a sense of mystery and wonder to the night sky. Can you imagine? Flamingos aren't born pink. Baby flamingos come into the world with grayish-white feathers. They develop their signature pink hue only after they start feeding on brine shrimp and blue-green algae. These colorful foods contain pigments called carotenoids, which gradually turn their feathers pink. It's a vivid transformation that turns these elegant birds into the beautiful pink creatures we adore. So the next time you see a flamingo, remember, their color is all thanks to their diet. Did you know the world's most isolated tree was located in the middle of the Sahara? In the vast expanse of the Sahara Desert, there once stood a legendary tree known as the Tree of Tenere. This solitary acacia was the only tree for miles around and served as an essential landmark for travelers. The tree was about 300 years old and survived the harsh desert conditions by tapping into underground water. Sadly, its story came to a tragic end in 1973 when it was accidentally knocked down by a truck. Today, the Tree of Tenere is preserved in a museum, a symbol of nature's resilience and the dangers of the desert. The lonely giant, the saddest whale on the planet. Imagine a whale that sings at a frequency no one else can hear. This unique whale, dubbed the 52 Hz whale, is known for singing at 52 Hz, much higher than other whales. Because of this, it cannot communicate with other whales, and it is considered the loneliest whale in the world. Scientists and the public have followed this whale since the 1980s, and its solitary songs remain a mystery. Perhaps its story is more than just an anomaly. It could be a symbol of our own isolation in the modern world. Can you imagine that computer memory once used magnetic rings? In the early days of computing, memory was made up of tiny magnetic rings through which electrical signals were passed. These rings stored data, and they could be erased by reversing the current. Despite their small size, this technology was groundbreaking and used until microchips were invented. The rings were literally strung on wires, and every bit of memory was worth its weight in gold. Why was Stonehenge really built? The mystery of Stonehenge has puzzled scientists for centuries. One theory suggests it was an ancient astronomical structure used to observe celestial events. Research shows that Stonehenge was aligned with the summer and winter solstices. Another hypothesis proposes that it was a place of healing or a ritual complex. Despite numerous theories, the true purpose of this ancient monument remains a mystery. How would you like to visit the world's most isolated island? Tristan da Cunha is the world's most remote inhabited island, located in the southern Atlantic Ocean. It lies about 2,400 kilometers from the nearest mainland. Around 260 people live on the island, most of whom are descendants of British settlers and shipwreck survivors. Tristan da Cunha has no airports, hotels, or restaurants, and the only way to reach it is by boat, on a 6-day journey from South Africa. The secret of the creosote: bush's longevity. In the Mojave Desert, one of the driest places on Earth, a creosote bush over 11,000 years old still grows. It's the oldest living thing on Earth, having survived entire civilizations. It grows in a ring shape, with each new sprout slowly replacing the older ones, creating an unbroken connection to past generations. Thanks to its incredible ability to survive in extreme conditions, this bush has become a symbol of resilience and longevity. The creosote bush reminds us that nature can withstand almost anything if left undisturbed. Have you ever wondered that in Italy there is an exploding vegetable garden? In the Italian village of Trastevere, there is an astonishing phenomenon. Plants in local vegetable gardens can literally explode under certain weather conditions. This happens due to the accumulation of gas in the soil, which, with sudden changes in pressure or temperature, can cause small bursts. The locals call this phenomenon the Garden of Fire. Science does not yet have a clear explanation, but it has become a part of local culture and a tourist attraction. Did you know that the first blogs appeared just a quarter of a century ago? It's hard to imagine the internet without blogs today. But did you know the first use of the word blog was recorded only in 1997? The term was a contraction of weblog, literally meaning internet diary. Back then, blogs were simple online journals where people shared their thoughts and experiences. However, as with everything on the internet, blogs evolved. Today, they cover everything from personal notes to global news, professional advice, and guides on any topic. They have become a powerful tool for self-expression, communication, and even business. Can you imagine that what started as a hobby has grown into a way to shape public opinion and the flow of information? Pteronophobia, an unusual fear you might not know about. Did you know that the fear of being tickled by feathers has its own name? It's called Pteronophobia, and it's characterized by an irrational fear of being tickled by feathers or even by feathers themselves. While this phobia is rare, it can cause significant stress and anxiety for those who suffer from it. This unusual fear is yet another example of how unique human fears can be and how they can impact daily life. How iron buttocks help Samsung test phone durability. Have you ever wondered how smartphone manufacturers test the durability of their devices? Samsung uses a rather unusual method to test their phones. They created a special robot shaped like human buttocks that sits on phones to simulate the pressure people exert when they sit with their phones in their back pockets. The robot even wears jeans to make the test as realistic as possible. This innovative testing helps the company ensure that their devices can withstand everyday challenges and won't break under pressure. Did you know glass actually flows? Contrary to popular belief, glass is not entirely solid. Over time, glass slowly flows, though this process can take hundreds or thousands of years. In old buildings, you might notice that glass windows have become slightly thicker at the bottom. This happens because the molecules of glass gradually shift downward under the force of gravity, making it behave more like a very slow-moving liquid on a molecular level. Did you know that lobsters live a long time, but they're not immortal? Contrary to popular belief, lobsters are not biologically immortal, but they do possess a fascinating secret, an enzyme called telomerase that helps repair their cells. This enzyme allows lobsters to keep reproducing DNA and regenerating cells, which contributes to their seemingly endless longevity. This remarkable ability has given rise to the myth of the immortal lobster. However, while lobsters can live for decades, they still eventually age. It's a fascinating glimpse into nature's strategies for longevity. Have you ever wondered if sand can turn into glass? Glass is made by heating sand to a temperature above 1,400 degrees Celsius, at which point it melts. The result is a material that looks completely different from the original sand. This process was discovered in ancient Egypt and is still used today to make everything from windows to high-tech smartphone screens. So, ordinary sand literally transforms into a transparent material that has changed our world. Gorilla, gorilla, gorilla. Funny name or serious science? Who would have thought that one of the largest and most majestic animals on the planet bears such a funny scientific name? The western lowland gorilla is classified as gorilla, gorilla, gorilla. In biology, binomial nomenclature is used to classify species, and the repetition of the name here emphasizes the uniqueness of this particular subspecies. While it may sound amusing, for scientists, it's standard practice. Such naming helps to precisely identify species, avoiding confusion with other subspecies. So next time you see a gorilla, you can jokingly refer to its official scientific name. Believe it or not, your brain generates about 70,000 thoughts a day. Imagine your brain as a factory of ideas, working non-stop. Every day it generates around 70,000 thoughts. That means a new idea, memory, or decision is born in your head every few seconds. This incredible ability allows us to multitask and quickly adapt, processing thousands of decisions automatically. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by thoughts, remember, your brain's powerful thinking factory is in full operation. Did you know that turtles can breathe through their butts? Yes, you heard that right. Turtles, especially species like the Fitzroy River turtle, can breathe through their cloaca, the opening they use for reproduction and waste excretion. This amazing ability helps turtles absorb oxygen from the water, allowing them to stay underwater for long periods. This process is called cloacal respiration, and it's yet another example of how unique and diverse survival methods are in the animal kingdom. So next time you see a turtle, remember that it's a true master of breathing from both ends. Hard to believe, but some bacteria can survive in space. Scientists have discovered that some types of bacteria can survive in outer space. In 2020, Japanese researchers conducted an experiment on the International Space Station where bacteria from the Deinococcus genus were exposed to the outside of the station for 3 years. These tiny organisms endured extreme conditions in space, such as radiation, vacuum, and temperature fluctuations. All of this is possible thanks to their unique cellular defense mechanisms that repair DNA damage. Can you imagine such small organisms surviving conditions that would be fatal to humans? This discovery opens up new possibilities for life beyond Earth. Amazingly, trees can communicate with each other. Scientists have discovered that trees communicate through root systems and fungal networks. This so-called wood wide web allows trees to share nutrients and warn each other about pests. They can send signals about water scarcity or threats so that nearby trees can prepare. This communication system makes forests much more complex and interconnected than we ever imagined. Did you know that the pale blue dot is a photo of Earth taken from 6 billion kilometers away? This iconic image of our planet was captured by the Voyager 1 spacecraft in 1990 from a distance of 3.7 billion miles, or 6 billion kilometers. In the photo, Earth appears as a tiny, barely visible dot in the vast expanse of space. It reminds us of how small and vulnerable our planet is in the grand scale of the universe, prompting reflection on our place in the world. Johnny Appleseed, the man who planted apples not for food. Many of us have heard the legend of Johnny Appleseed, whose real name was John Chapman. This famous gardener didn't just plant apple trees across America. His goal was much more interesting. He planted trees not for the apples to be eaten, but to produce cider. In the early 19th century, apples were mainly used to make this alcoholic drink, and Johnny Appleseed became a hero among cider lovers. Knowing this story, each glass of apple cider will feel a bit more historical. The secret of the Great Wall of China, sticky rice. The Great Wall of China is one of the most impressive structures in the world. But did you know that its durability is thanks to sticky rice? Ancient builders used a mortar mixture containing this rice to bind the stones together. This unexpected culinary ingredient played a key role in strengthening one of the world's greatest wonders. It's amazing to think that something as simple as a kitchen ingredient helped build such a monumental structure. The flight of the chicken. Why don't chickens fly like eagles? Imagine this. The longest flight a chicken has ever made lasted only 13 seconds. Although chickens have wings, they aren't designed for long flights. Unlike eagles and other birds, chickens can only take short hops and fly a few meters by flapping their wings. This feature is due to their anatomy. Their bodies are too heavy, and their wing muscles are not developed enough for sustained flight. However, in rare cases, chickens can cover significant distances. But this is the exception rather than the rule. So next time you see a chicken, remember, it may be a bird, but it's far from being an aerial creature. The Spring Equinox, more than just a change of seasons. The first day of spring is known as the vernal equinox. The term vernal comes from the Latin word for spring, while equinox means equal night in Latin. During this time, day and night are nearly equal in length. An interesting fact: according to a study on Facebook, spring is the season when couples are most likely to break up. Perhaps the balance of day and night encourages people to seek new beginnings. Who knew that an astronomical event could have an impact on our personal lives? Did you know that some frogs can freeze solid and still survive? It turns out that certain frog species, like the wood frog, can completely freeze during winter and come back to life in the spring. These amazing amphibians can survive sub-zero temperatures by freezing almost entirely solid. Their hearts stop beating, they stop breathing, and their bodies turn rock hard. Yet, when the weather warms up, they thaw and return to their usual lives, hopping around like nothing happened. Nature's cold storage system proves that frogs are some of the ultimate survivors. Hard to believe, but in Madagascar, there is a tree that walks. The baobab tree in Madagascar is known for its roots that can move several meters in search of water. While the tree itself does not move, its root system grows towards sources of moisture, crossing large patches of land. This unique ability allows baobabs to survive in drought conditions and become even more resilient. This species of plants has long intrigued biologists, who are still trying to unravel all the secrets of how these ancient giants survive. Can you believe that 3% of Antarctica's ice is penguin urine? It may sound strange, but it's true. Scientists have determined that about 3% of Antarctic ice is made up of penguin urine. In the extreme cold of Antarctica, urine doesn't evaporate as it would in warmer climates. Instead, it remains on the surface and eventually freezes, becoming part of the ice. This unusual fact shows just how unique this continent is and how its natural conditions create truly unexpected phenomena. Did you know there are eternal lightning storms on Earth? In Venezuela, there is a place called Catatumbo, where lightning strikes almost constantly. This unique natural phenomenon occurs at Lake Maracaibo, where lightning can be observed on up to 250 days each year. Known as the Catatumbo lightning storm, lightning can flash up to 280 times an hour. Scientists believe this is due to the region's unique topography, which creates perfect conditions for constant discharges. This location has become a major attraction for tourists and scientists from around the world. Is it possible that sharks don't get cancer? Sharks are considered some of the most resilient creatures on the planet, and their unique regenerative abilities protect them from many diseases. Although sharks can get cancer, it happens very rarely because their immune system is extremely strong. Studying shark tissues has helped scientists better understand how to fight diseases and prolong human life. These ancient predators hold many secrets, and their bodies inspire breakthroughs in medicine. Vending machines are more dangerous than sharks. When you go to grab a snack from a vending machine, danger probably isn't on your mind. But here's the shocker. Vending machines pose a greater threat to us than sharks. Research shows that you are more likely to be killed by a vending machine than by a shark. This startling fact reminds us that everyday objects can be surprisingly dangerous. So next time you get a snack, be careful. The real danger might just be lurking in the office or school hallway. Did you know that elephants can hear with their feet? Elephants have a unique ability to sense sound waves through the ground. Their sensitive feet can detect vibrations from several kilometers away. These vibrations help elephants detect approaching predators or other herds. Furthermore, they use this ability to communicate with each other over long distances, transmitting signals and warnings. This sensitivity makes elephants remarkable animals, capable of hearing what is imperceptible to human ears. How would you react if you found out there is an underwater museum in Greece? In the Aegean Sea, near the coast of Greece, there is a unique underwater museum. This archaeological site allows visitors to dive with scuba gear and explore ancient shipwrecks and artifacts lying on the seabed. It is the first underwater museum of its scale and attracts both history enthusiasts and divers from around the world. Did you know the average person spends 6 months of their life at traffic lights? The average person spends around 6 months of their life waiting for red lights to turn green. This adds up from all the small stops we make at intersections and crosswalks every day. While it may seem like only a few seconds here and there, over a lifetime, it becomes a significant chunk of time. These moments of waiting remind us of the hidden rhythms of everyday life and how much time we spend on seemingly small things. Did you know that Dr. Seuss invented the word nerd? The term nerd, used to describe someone passionate about knowledge and science, was first coined by Dr. Seuss in his book If I Ran the Zoo in 1950. This whimsical term quickly gained popularity and became a beloved label for those who are enthusiastic about learning and geek culture. Thanks to Dr. Seuss, nerd has evolved into a term of endearment for those who love to dive deep into the world of science and intellectual pursuits. Did you know that lightning is hotter than the sun? The temperature of lightning can reach up to 30,000 degrees Celsius, which is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. This incredible natural phenomenon is one of the most powerful forces on Earth. When lightning strikes, it releases an enormous amount of energy in just a few milliseconds, heating the air around it to extreme temperatures. Lightning is truly nature's own flamethrower, bringing intense heat with every flash. Kiwi, the bird that can't fly but rules New Zealand. The kiwi bird is not just a national symbol of New Zealand, it's a true star. Despite having wings, the kiwi can't fly, but that doesn't stop it from being an icon of its country. These small birds are known for their unique appearance and habits. They are nocturnal and use their keen sense of smell to find food. The kiwi is so important to New Zealand that the locals call themselves Kiwi. This proves that even the smallest and most unusual bird can become the symbol of an entire nation. Why does the King of Hearts in a deck of cards have no mustache? If you've ever taken a close look at a standard deck of cards, you may have noticed that the King of Hearts is the only king without a mustache. This small detail, often overlooked, makes him unique among the other kings. Depicted as clean-shaven, this little quirk adds a bit of mystery to the standard deck of cards that we all know and play with. Did you know that dark forms of oxygen can appear at the ocean floor? Scientists have discovered an amazing phenomenon, the so-called dark oxygen. Typically, we know that oxygen is produced by plants through photosynthesis with the help of sunlight. However, minerals found on the ocean floor can generate oxygen without sunlight. This discovery shocked the scientific community, as it was previously thought that oxygen on Earth only came from living organisms. Research has shown that rocks on the seabed, through a process called electrolysis of seawater, can split it into oxygen and hydrogen. This changes our understanding of oxygen generation on the planet. Did you know that astronauts can't burp in space? In the absence of gravity, our bodily functions behave very differently than on Earth. One of the strange effects is that astronauts cannot burp in space. On Earth, gravity helps separate gas from food in the stomach, allowing us to release air. But in space, without gravity, gases remain mixed with liquids, making burping impossible. In fact, if astronauts tried to drink carbonated beverages, it could lead to rather unpleasant results. It's a small reminder of how much gravity influences our everyday functions and how amazing our bodies are in space conditions. Why are soap bubbles always round? The answer to this question is simple, but quite fascinating. Soap bubbles take on a round shape because it is the most stable and energy-efficient form for holding air inside. When you blow a bubble, the soap film naturally tries to distribute the surface tension evenly. A spherical shape is ideal because it minimizes the surface area, which helps the bubble maintain its structure. Although bubbles can take on other shapes if blown through specific devices or confined spaces, in free flight, they always return to their natural spherical form. It's an example of how the laws of physics manifest in even the simplest things, like soap bubbles. Did you know that sea cucumbers eject their insides to survive? Sea cucumbers are true masters of survival, and their methods might surprise you. When these unusual creatures face predators, they can literally expel their internal organs. This extreme defense mechanism distracts the predator while the sea cucumber escapes. But don't worry, after a while, the sea cucumber regenerates its organs as if nothing had happened. This unusual survival mechanism allows them to thrive in the harshest marine environments, showing that nature sometimes finds very unexpected solutions. Did you know that the King of Sweden has almost no power? Contrary to popular belief, the King of Sweden is not an active political leader. His role is purely symbolic, performing mainly ceremonial duties. Sweden is a constitutional monarchy where political power lies with the parliament and the prime minister. Nevertheless, the king continues to play an important role in the cultural and social life of the country, representing Sweden on the international stage and attending state events. Interestingly, the Swedish royal family is considered one of the most popular and respected in the world, despite having minimal political influence. The royal game of is the oldest board game, over 4,000 years old. This ancient game was discovered during excavations in Mesopotamia and dates back to around 2600 BCE. Played by two players on a 20-square board, the game involved strategic moves with pieces that maneuvered around obstacles. It had a major influence on the development of future board games, demonstrating the strategic thinking of ancient civilizations. Just imagine how deep-rooted our love for games really is. Is it true that humans can see more colors than most other mammals? Human vision is far more advanced than that of most mammals. Our eyes have 3 types of color receptors, known as cones, which allow us to perceive thousands of shades. While many animals see only in black and white, or can distinguish just a few basic colors, humans can enjoy a rich variety of hues. For example, dogs see the world mostly in shades of yellow and blue, while we can perceive the full spectrum of the rainbow and beyond. This amazing visual perception helps us navigate the world and appreciate its beauty. The first computer mouse was made of wood. In 1964, Douglas Engelbart invented the first computer mouse, and it was made of wood. This device, with 2 metal wheels, revolutionized how humans interact with computers. Today, modern mice are much more advanced, but that wooden mouse remains a landmark in computer history. Can you guess when the first mobile phone call was made? On April 3rd, 1973, the first mobile phone call in history was made. This historic moment took place in New York City when Motorola engineer Martin Cooper dialed the number of his competitor. The phone was bulky and weighed over 1 kilogram. This call marked the beginning of a new era in communications, paving the way for the sleek smartphones we carry with us today. Can you believe that the electric chair was actually invented by a dentist? Believe it or not, the electric chair, one of the most infamous devices in history, was conceived by Alfred P. Southwick, a dentist. Southwick designed the electric chair in the late 19th century as a more humane alternative to hanging. This shocking invention forever changed the history of capital punishment. It's almost ironic to think that a person dedicated to caring for people's teeth would create such a grim device. You probably didn't know that the International Space Station is the most expensive object ever built. The cost of building and operating the ISS is approximately $150 billion. For comparison, that's almost 50 times the cost of the Eiffel Tower. All this money was spent to create a one-of-a-kind scientific laboratory complex orbiting the Earth. Did you know the world's oldest message in a bottle was found after more than a century? In 2018, a bottle washed ashore on a beach in Western Australia containing a message tossed into the Indian Ocean by a German ship in 1886. This message had traveled through the seas for an incredible 132 years before being discovered. Talk about slow and steady mail service. It's a fascinating glimpse into the past, connecting us with a different era. Can you imagine that it rains diamonds on Neptune? It sounds like science fiction, but scientists are convinced that Neptune experiences diamond rain. Due to the immense pressure and extreme temperatures, methane in Neptune's atmosphere transforms into diamonds that literally fall from the sky. Imagine a world where precious jewels are as common as raindrops, a luxurious storm that any jeweler would dream of witnessing. How does Germany successfully run a crocodile farm? At the crocodile farm in Saarland Zoo, more than 100 crocodiles live comfortably even in Germany's harsh climate. This zoo is equipped with water heating systems that create ideal conditions for these exotic reptiles. Despite the cold winters, the crocodiles act as if they're in the tropics. Tourists can even watch them lazily swim or feed, making this one of the region's main attractions. Did you know the ancient Inca city could withstand earthquakes? Machu Picchu, the famous Inca city, was built using an ingenious technology that allowed it to withstand earthquakes. Located in a highly seismic zone, the Incas used a technique called ashlar masonry, where stones were so precisely cut that they fit together without mortar. During an earthquake, the stones could move slightly and then return to their original positions, keeping the structures intact. This brilliant engineering made the Incas true masters of ancient architecture. Wow! Did you know that spiders can jump incredible distances? A jumping spider can leap up to 15 times its body length. This would be like a human leaping across a football field in one bound. These spiders use their back legs as springs, compressing them and then suddenly straightening to get a powerful push. Jumping spiders also have keen eyesight, allowing them to accurately target prey or safe landing spots, and even avoid predators. Did you know that penguins swallow stones? These tuxedo-wearing wonders not only excel at swimming, but also have an unusual habit of swallowing small stones. Penguins ingest pebbles to help them digest food more efficiently, using the stones to grind up food in their stomachs, much like birds use gravel. In addition, these stones provide extra weight, allowing penguins to dive deeper in search of fish. This clever adaptation turns penguins into expert divers and makes them even more fascinating. Did you know New Zealand has an official wizard? In 1990, the government of New Zealand officially granted the title of wizard to Ian Brackenbury. His duties include spreading magic and joy throughout the country. This wizard on call has become a true cultural icon, filling his homeland with magic and smiles. If you need a wizard, just head to New Zealand. He's always on hand. This is a great example of how a country can officially invite magic into everyday life. Penguins propose with pebbles. Adelie penguin males don't just seek a mate. They stage a true romantic ritual in the icy vastness of Antarctica. When it's time to win over a female, the male carefully selects the smoothest and most beautiful pebble he can find and presents it to his chosen one as a symbol of his affection. If she accepts this gift, she's ready to pair up with him. This charming gesture has become a symbol of courtship among penguins, adding a touch of warmth to the frozen Antarctic landscape. Imagine if we replaced engagement rings with pebbles. It turns out that fireflies can control the brightness of their glow. The fireflies we marvel at on summer evenings actually have the ability to adjust the intensity of their light. This is due to a chemical reaction in their bodies that uses a substance called luciferin. They can change the brightness of their glow depending on whether they are attracting a mate or warding off predators. Imagine how useful it would be to not only have a built-in lamp, but to control its brightness. How much do you think the world's largest burger weighs? In 2017, a Michigan restaurant cooked up the world's biggest burger, weighing in at a whopping 1,164 kilograms. That's over 2,500 pounds of beef. The burger was stacked with 300 pounds of cheese, 150 pounds of lettuce, 150 pounds of onions, and 100 pounds of bacon. It took 10 hours to cook and was served to 350 guests. That's one burger you'll never forget. Goosebumps, an evolutionary artifact from our ancestors. Have you ever wondered why we get goosebumps? This phenomenon is linked to our ancient ancestors. Long ago, when humans and animals had more body hair, this reaction helped them appear larger and more intimidating to predators while also retaining heat in cold weather. When tiny muscles at the base of hair follicles contract, the hair stands up, creating a fluffy effect. Today, goosebumps are a leftover from our evolutionary past, but they no longer serve the important function they once did. Nowadays, goosebumps are more often triggered by cold or strong emotions. So, next time you feel goosebumps, remember that they are a part of your ancient defense system. Octopuses are the interior designers of the ocean you never knew about. Octopuses aren't just smart, they are also the artists of the underwater world. These fascinating creatures love collecting shiny shells, stones, and other treasures to decorate their underwater homes. They create underwater gardens around their dens, meticulously arranging everything. This shows not only their survival skills, but also their sense of artistry. Their homes are not just beautiful, but also designed to protect them from predators and attract the attention of other octopuses. Who would have thought that these sea creatures had such a talent for interior design? Why can you hear bridges in Italy? In Venice, some ancient bridges literally sing due to vibrations. In certain spots, plates are installed to create sounds when people walk on them. The effect is caused by resonance and the unique construction of the bridges. On a quiet night, when the city sleeps, the bridges become musical instruments, played by tourists rather than musicians. These sounds give Venice a distinctive charm, echoing the city's long history. Did you know that a jiffy is an actual unit of time? The term jiffy is not just a figure of speech, it's a real unit of time. In scientific terms, a jiffy is defined as the time it takes light to travel 1 centimeter in a vacuum, which is approximately 33 picoseconds. While we often use the word to refer to something happening quickly, scientists have made it a measurable moment. This fun fact shows that even the quickest of moments can be quantified if you delve deep enough into the mysteries of time. Did you know car aromas can reduce accidents? It's surprising but true. The right scent inside a car can make driving safer. Studies show that aromas such as lavender or vanilla can calm drivers, reduce stress, and help maintain focus. A relaxed driver is less likely to be involved in an accident, making the choice of car scent not just a pleasant detail, but also an important safety factor. Did you know there is a musical record left on the moon? In 1971, during the Apollo 15 mission, a music record was left on the moon with recordings of earthly artists. This record, featuring songs from the Beatles and others, became a symbol of peace and humanity. Today, it remains there as a message for future generations or even aliens who might find it and hear the sounds of our planet. Could it be possible? The pyramids of Giza were once colorful. When the pyramids of Giza were first built, their surfaces were covered with smooth white limestone slabs, which reflected sunlight and made them appear bright and sparkling. At the top, there was likely a golden pyramidion, giving the pyramid a dazzling look. Over time, the white stone eroded, and the pyramids became what we see today, stark but still majestic. Who would have thought that the world's most pierced man has over 500 piercings? British IT specialist Rolf Boltz holds the title of the most pierced man in the world, with a staggering 516 piercings. His body is adorned with horn implants, stretched earlobes and tattoos. Known as the man with horns, Rolf enjoys the attention his unique appearance brings. Despite his unusual looks, Rolf says that his piercings are a form of self-expression and he loves the reaction they provoke. Can you imagine that in Colorado, there's a town where it's illegal to die? In the town of Nederland, Colorado, there's a strange and even absurd law. You can't die in the town. This law stems from a local history involving attempts to preserve a man's body in a frozen state. Now the town has declared itself a territory for immortals, and locals jokingly claim that they're simply not allowed to die. Of course, the law isn't enforceable, but many people visit Nederland to laugh at this odd tradition and learn about the story of the frozen eternal resident. Can you guess which insect is the heaviest in the world? The giant weta, native to New Zealand, holds the title for the heaviest insect in the world. This massive bug can weigh up to 70 grams, more than a sparrow. Wetas can grow up to 10 centimeters long and are truly giant compared to typical crickets. This insect is the heavyweight champion of its species, and continues to amaze even the most experienced entomologists with its colossal size. It turns out that Spain has a ghost city built for thousands of people, but no one lives there. In the Spanish province of Galicia, there is a place called Ciudad de la Cultura, City of Culture, which was built with grand ambitions. It was meant to be a major cultural hub for scholars, artists, and creative individuals. However, the project ran into financial difficulties, and now this city stands mostly abandoned. Its modern buildings, inspired by ancient designs, stand as a colossal monument to unfulfilled dreams. This place attracts both tourists and architecture enthusiasts, even though most of the structures remain closed and unused. Why do snails bury themselves in the ground? The snails we often see after rain don't just dig into the soil for fun. It's their way of surviving extreme conditions. When it gets too hot or dry, snails create a special mucus plug to retain moisture in their bodies and bury themselves to endure the dry periods. This process, called estivation, is a type of summer hibernation that allows snails to survive harsh seasons. Why do seahorses dance before mating? Seahorses perform entire rituals, dancing with their partners to form a special bond before raising offspring. These dances can last for hours, and during them, pairs swim in sync, change colors, and even hold each other by the tails. It's not just a dance, it's a true expression of affection that helps strengthen the bond between partners. In the underwater world, these dances surprise with their grace and tenderness. Earth's gravity. Why isn't it the same everywhere? Have you ever wondered why gravity varies slightly in different places on Earth? It turns out this is due to many factors, such as altitude, the density of Earth's crust, and the distance from the equator. Gravity is stronger at the poles and in places with denser crust, like mountain ranges, because these areas are closer to the Earth's center. Conversely, gravity is weaker at high altitudes, such as on top of Mount Everest and near the equator. These variations are caused by the distribution of mass on the planet and the fact that Earth is slightly flattened at the poles. This highlights the complexity and uniqueness of our gravitational field. Now you know, in some places on Earth, you weigh a little more or less than in others. Did you know that the peacock is the most colorful animal on Earth? The peacock, native to Asia, is crowned as the most vibrant animal on the planet. Its stunning array of colors includes brilliant blues, greens, yellows, purples, and reds. These dazzling feathers not only captivate potential mates, but also help the peacock ward off predators. Each feather is like a masterpiece, and together they create a living rainbow in nature. The peacock is truly a spectacle of nature, flaunting its colors like a work of art. Why do the leaves of some plants glow? In the dark forests of New Zealand, you can find a remarkable plant called glow moss, which emits a faint blue-green light in the dark. This phenomenon, known as bioluminescence, attracts insects that help spread its spores. Travelers who have seen it with their own eyes say the glowing moss looks like magical lights in a nighttime forest, as if they have stepped into a fantasy world. This natural lamp adds an enchanting and mystical touch to the forest. Believe it or not, the world's smallest island is only a few square meters. Bishop Rock, located in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of England, holds the title of the world's smallest island. Its area is only 8/1000ths of a square kilometer, just 3/1000ths of a square mile. Despite its tiny size, the island boasts a lighthouse and is the most westerly point of England. It's officially recognized in the Guinness World Records as the smallest inhabited island, proving that even the smallest piece of land can be home to something remarkable. Did you know that only 1/10 of an iceberg's mass is visible? When we see an iceberg, it may seem like just a big block of ice. However, 90% of its volume is hidden underwater. This happens because the density of ice is lower than that of seawater, causing most of the iceberg to remain beneath the surface. That's why icebergs are so dangerous for ships. Their true size is much larger than what is visible above the water. Antarctica is the largest desert on Earth. Antarctica, despite all its ice and snow, is actually the largest desert in the world. Yes, you heard that right. The criteria that define a desert are low levels of precipitation, and in Antarctica, very little moisture falls. The average annual precipitation in some parts of the continent is similar to that of the Sahara. This makes Antarctica a true ice desert, where endless ice fields stretch instead of scorching sands. This fact highlights that deserts come in many forms, both hot and cold, and nature always has a surprise in store. Sharks can smell a drop of blood from miles away. Sharks have one of the most impressive senses of smell in the animal kingdom. They can detect blood in a ratio of 1 part per million of water, allowing them to track their prey from great distances. This ability makes sharks some of the most dangerous predators in the ocean. Their olfactory system is so developed that they can detect even the slightest changes in the chemical composition of water. Sharks not only track prey, but can also avoid potential threats, making them true masters of survival. This incredible sense of smell enables them to hunt effectively, even in the deepest, darkest waters. So if you find yourself in the ocean with a cut, beware. A shark could sense it from miles away. Did you know that the first frozen dinner was created in 1953? Imagine this. The frozen dinners we're so used to were once a culinary breakthrough. In 1953, Swanson introduced a frozen meal styled after a Thanksgiving dinner. This meal was in response to the need for quick meal preparation, and since then, frozen foods have become a staple of our diets. Today, the variety of frozen meals is staggering, from pizzas to exotic delicacies. Just think how a simple solution for leftover food turned into a multi-billion-dollar industry that has transformed our eating habits. How did jellyfish learn the secret of immortality? In the deep ocean lives the jellyfish Turritopsis dohrnii, known as the immortal jellyfish. Unlike other creatures, this jellyfish can revert to its juvenile state, effectively rewinding time. If it ages or suffers injury, it simply regenerates, starting its life cycle over. This process is called transdifferentiation. Scientists believe that the jellyfish's genetic mechanisms may one day help humans extend their lives. Studying the immortal jellyfish not only captivates us, but also opens the door to discovering the secrets of eternal youth. Is it possible? In the USA, there is a river that flows underground for 1,000 kilometers. In the United States, under the Appalachians, lies a vast underground river system known as the Ogallala Aquifer. This subterranean river stretches for 1,000 kilometers, and its waters supply millions of people in the Midwest. Although it cannot be seen, it serves as an important source of drinking water for a huge area. Scientists warn that due to climate change and excessive water use, this unique river could dry up in the coming decades, making it even more mysterious and crucial for preservation. Have you ever noticed that fresh, earthy smell after rain? This unique scent, known as petrichor, fills the air when rain first touches dry soil. The term petrichor comes from the Greek words petra, stone, and ichor, which is the fluid said to flow in the veins of the gods. It's as if each drop of rain reveals the earth's hidden fragrance, captivating our senses with a touch of nature's charm.